Started in 1946 in radio, and who knew it would last this long, but I'm very happy about it, because people say, when are you going to retire? So why do I retire? I haven't done any heavy lifting.
You know, Shirley, when I picked up Soupy at the airport, or whenever I see him, there's always crowds coming around to him. They love him. It's genuine love to the man. They want to see him, they want to talk to him, and this man, he stops and talks to each one of them. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but remember that everybody had lunch with Soupy. Everybody had lunch with you.
Yeah, those were great days. Those were great live days of TV, which were, you'll never see again, But it was wonderful because, the stations didn't join the networks until 5 or 6 in the evening, so they had to have local programming. So the local programming consisted of mostly kid shows, variety, comedy, and WXYZ, I guess, was the leader of that regime. John Pivel, who was the general manager, vice president, he was a man who would put on 20 shows. If he got 1 or 2, he thought it was a big hit, which was great, because you had all those live programming. Because we had Wixie Wonderland and Justice Colt and The Black Spider, and it was, it was really went on and on. I did 10 shows a week there, and for a couple of years I did 11 shows. It was really something, a great experience, live TV. It was really something.
Soupy, if you did 10 or 11 shows a week, when did you practice? When did you...
Practice? There was no practice. There was no rehearsal. In fact, it was really wild, because we would do the shows and they would bring the cameras over from the other show right, on the station break. You had a minute or two. There was people, they think they had production and writing. No, if you didn't do it yourself, they got somebody else that could do it. That was it. And it was a great training ground, and that you don't get today. You don't have the stations that do it. Over at WXYZ, the 3 big studios are all nothing. They don't do any shows except news shows. And to me, that's not very creative. It's very good financially.
When did White Fang come into your life?
White Fang was a character that I always loved, because I was a big fan of Jack London, and White Fang was a Jack London dog. And I always had visions of doing a radio show where a dog would be there all the time menacing me. But I didn't, you go along, you don't know how it's going to happen or not. And I was in the Navy, and I was the chaplain's assistant. The day I became a chaplain's assistant, 300 guys changed religions. And being a chaplain's assistant on a ship consisted of playing V-discs of shows of big bands and singers, and dramatic shows. And they had one night I played Hound of the Baskervilles with Basil Rathbone, and in it, when he attacked the hounds, I said, "My gosh, there's White Fang," and I stole that record, and I brought it back. And when I got into radio, I would play the sound effect of the White Fang, and I'd say he's sitting on the desk, and then all of a sudden I'd kick over wastebaskets and he'd be attacking me. I'd be screaming. They thought I was nuts,
What year did you go on TV?
Well, this was in radio. I went on TV in 1950, and I used it as an off-camera voice. So it worked for me in Cincinnati and worked in Cleveland, but it wasn't until I came to Detroit. Someone one day stole the record, and one of the engineer's wives had made a big glove, a big white paw, and Clyde Adler, who was the floor director, put it on and was going, I said, that's the way it happens, because then you can see the possibilities of everything. Like when I first started doing my lunch show for the kids, they had me in front of a plain flat. And I said, look, if we get a thing with a door, that means you can have action at the door. So they said, fine, you give them a door. And I got a window. I mean, it sounds minuscule, but those things happen. And one thing happens and grows and grows and grows, and all of a sudden, we had ourselves a full-grown show. And where I started in 1953 and 1955, I replaced Kukla Franoli for 8 weeks on the ABC network. First time anybody had ever done a regular scheduled network show out of Detroit. Then in 1957, I started ABC's Saturday morning programming for children, and that came out of Detroit for Jell-O. And that's the first time anybody had done a regular scheduled network show out of Detroit. So I sort of had a few firsts here, and
But you know what? Why don't we think we own Soupy?
Well, because it happened for me here, and I'm glad you feel that way, because Detroit's like my second home.
Shirley, I want to tell you something about Soupy. He just was Well, you just had a mall named after you, wasn't it?
Well, not a mall. I'm from Huntington, West Virginia, is where I went to school and college. And that was my first love, my hometown. And recently, on my 50th year, I guess, in show business, and because I talk about hunting all the time, like I talk about Detroit, is that they named the mall in front of the Civic Center. It's now the Soupy Sales Plaza. And we've got a slogan, the place to be is at the SSP. It's free, and I'm putting on free concerts down there. The one which will be July 21st, from 5 to 7 on Sunday. People, it's like a tailgate party, and it's going to be 4 or 5 of the best comedians coming down. Then next month we're going to have a jazz night, so it gives me something to look forward to of working.
Soupy, are you also a musician?
No, I can play drums, but just enough to get my face slapped.
You're appearing at the Red Timbers.
Yeah, Red Timbers. I'm always happy to appear there for Jack, and I'm there. I open tomorrow night, Friday at 2 shows. 8 and 10 Saturday, 8 and 10. I'm sorry, I lost my voice. It seems like all I do is talk all the time. If somebody told me to shut up, I'd be happy about it.
But I have to say this, Soupy, and then I'll let you talk, Jack. I attended the last time you were here. I was there, and I talked to all the people, and they came in from Melvindale, downriver.
We talk about what at the Red Timbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was packed, standing room only. Those people came in from Melvindale,
China City.
Yeah, all over. You don't understand how they love you.
Oh, I know. It's wonderful. It's great. I was just in Ann Arbor last weekend, and the reaction of the people was just wonderful. They threw tear gas because they were having a riot. That's not my problem.
Did they?
Oh, yes, up there, but no, it's great. And people ask me what I think about it. I think it's marvelous, the most wonderful, flattering thing, because if they did, it would make me very unhappy.
Jack?
That's great. Soupy, I got something to ask you. We were talking before about at your old set on XYZ, you did all the impromptu things yourself and with Rube Weiss and other guys. You talked about Pookie, we talked about White Fang, Blacktooth. Tell me about the lady, your best, the most famous outtake.
Oh, the most famous outtake. Oh, well, I had left Detroit in 1960 to go to Los Angeles, and I was doing the show there, and these are the days of live TV, and in 1960, don't forget, Pookie couldn't do the first Family album by Von Meter because they thought he was making fun of the President of the United States. And that was verbatim. You wouldn't do that. So it was very strict. And one day, I was working out with the dogs out in front, doing the bicycle twist and everything, like do different dances for the mouse and everything like that. And it was supposed to be a woman screaming. I would go to the door and look down, there'd be a pair of women's shoes pulled by catgut, which you can't see, followed by a pair of men's shoes and what we call a blackout. You do a take into the camera, you go to commercial, that's it. So I'm working, they scream, and I said, all right, it's very good. And I noticed number 2 camera swinging, and I said, could you get a close-up of the shoes? Because don't forget, like I said, we didn't have rehearsal. There was no rehearsal time. Every time you saw a show, it was ad lib. It was like much like this, Well, no, because we did a lot of action stuff. Anyway, so I go back to the door. I look down. I don't see the shoes. I look up, and there is a naked woman behind the door. And I go, ah! and I said, my God, I'm having a heart attack. I said, there goes my life, my career, and everything. and what the number 2 camera was taking a picture, and it came over the monitor because I thought we were on the air live, but they were shooting straight on. And Clyde Adler grabbed a balloon because they went to the David Rose stripper number, and because you never want to do an inside joke that nobody knew anything about. So even though it was a joke on me, I mean, today you'd say, come on in, honey, This was the girlfriend of the floor director. Can't imagine him saying, come around tomorrow, get naked, we're going to pull a joke on Soupy. Okay.